for the North Carolina Drive for the Cure 300. We've been joined now by our second place finisher, Sam Hornish Jr., driver of the number 12 PPG Ford. And Sam, a great run for the team tonight. Always enjoy when you come and join us here in the Xfinity Series. Talk a little bit about that run tonight and ultimately coming home with the runner-up finish.
Well, I think if it had been probably anybody else other than my teammate or Bowman winning, I'd probably been pretty disappointed with tonight for as fast as that we were. But the fact that we stuck it with it, the car was great. We needed long runs, didn't have any early on in the race. Finally got the car adjusted right where we thought we needed to be and kind of overstepped it. And that last restart got stuck on the bottom and just it also freed the car up a little bit right there too, knowing that we're going to be back in traffic. And took us a little bit longer. The top lane rolled, and the 2 and 42 were able to make a lot of ground on us there early, and it was everything that Alex needed to be able to win. And it was a bit of fighting for me to be able to get back to second. And by the time I had to slip up underneath the 22 car, really glad that we didn't end up getting together. I figured I was kind of slid around the corner long enough that I figured I wasn't going to correct until he was past me again, and made the right rear tire mad, and it took us about 5 or 6 laps to get that calm back down, go back after him, and just not enough time there at the end.
All right. We will take questions for Sam. If you have a question, please just raise your hand, say your name and affiliation. We'll start in the back with Jacob.
Jacob Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network. Sam, first off, congratulations on the great run. I know you wanted one more spot, but it seems like every year, Team Penske here at Charlotte, especially that 12 team that you got a chance to be with this weekend, always really, really good here and really, really good anytime the team runs. What does it say about Team Penske for a team that doesn't run every week with these 12 guys to be able to do what you guys did here and be in contention for the win as much as you have?
I kind of wondered about that back in 2013 when I was running the 12 car all the time, how the 22 always seemed to be just a little bit quicker than us. And, they were running obviously for owners' points, but the way that they were able to run the race with the different drivers put in the car, the points not being 100% on the line like they were for us, they were able to just make, a little bit bigger adjustments here and there. They were able to push things a little bit further as far as fuel mileage or, how they ran their race. And I think that, Brian Wilson's obviously done a great job. I met with him on Thursday afternoon. He said, you need a sheet of like the guys that are going to be on the team. And I said, who all you got? And he started going through them. I'm like, I know all those guys, pretty much so. So it was nice. It's kind of like old home week, getting to work with a bunch of people that I'd worked with, whether it be on the 12 or the 22 or the 77. So I think that, Penske Racing's got quite a program going on. And, for the fact that it was as quick of notice and turnaround for me to be able to get in this car, I was really happy with that. Just, this is only the second mile and a half that I've ran since September of last year. So a lot of differences in the cars and how those things work, and a lot less downforce, so a lot more off throttle time. And it took me a little bit yesterday of getting back to right where I wanted to be at. But man, I love coming and running here at Charlotte. This is one of my favorite tracks. I had race slip away. The last Xfinity race I got to run here back in 13. We took the lead from Kyle Busch with like 20 laps to go, and then he passed me back with about 8 to go. I've always felt like that was one that got away, and here we have another one. But all in all, really glad how they stepped up in the pit stops and those things that they had today.
Obviously, you don't run full-time with the series anymore, haven't for a few years. Do you feel like it makes a statement in a way that you can still come out here on a part-time basis and, you've won this year, you've won before, to be able to continue to contend week in and week out when you are here?
I'm just always really happy to get past like lap 2 of the second stage, because that bit us a couple times this year, people getting loose underneath us. So once we got past that today, I felt really good about it. I try really hard to stay in shape, even though I have a hard time doing that sometimes. There's not any substitute to being in these race cars all the time. And I pay attention to what's going on. I try to talk to people and understand, what the trends are, and really put time in. But, I'm just more so than anything, I guess, proud of the fact that, that I've got an opportunity and that I can step up to it, and that we can run fast almost everywhere, that we get put in the race car. really thankful most of all. While I'd love to be here full time, I feel like God's blessed me very much to give me a great family and a bunch of good support people that when I'm not here, I've got a lot going on. And it's like everybody always goes, so what are you doing with your time? I'm like, if I told you wouldn't think it was that much, but I don't ever seem to have a free moment. So while I miss being here, I really enjoy the times when I'm not at the racetrack as well, just enjoying watching my kids grow up and knowing that there's a lot of people that don't get the opportunity to spend as much time as I do with them. So I look at that as a blessing and try to make the most of it when I do get the opportunity to get behind the wheel. Thank you.
We'll go to Kenny. Are you good? All right. Any additional questions for Sam? Okay.
Press box has a question.
Okay, go ahead, press box.
Steve Schweitz with Alaska Press. Sam, you referenced the slide that experienced trying to pass Blaney there about 20 laps ago. If that hadn't occurred, do you think you could have run down Bowman?
I think for sure, because not only did that slowed me down a bit, it took 5 or 6 laps to be able to get back, get the right rear tire back cooled down enough to where I wasn't just about spinning out every corner. And then it still took me 3 or 4 laps beyond that to get back to Blaney and another couple to be able to pass him. So I feel like that we would have had a good shot at it if I would have been able to clear him there. And even while I was running the race, I had a great run on him coming off of 4, going down into 1. And almost immediately after I did, I was like, I should have waited one more corner to go for that. So I know that I really believe that I could have caught Bowman, but catching him and getting around him for the win is another thing too.
All right, any additional questions in the press box?
No further questions.
Okay, thank you. We'll come back downstairs. Go ahead.
Second a very fun stretch. Obviously, you started near the rear of the field tonight, and you made your way all the way up to the top 10 by the end of the first stage. So just recap that first stage for you, feeling out the car and making a lot of passes and making some good gains.
Oh, yeah, we only got about 18 laps yesterday in the car and wasn't really sure what was going to happen because most of even that had a lot of oil dry down on the first groove, and then tried not to venture off of the first groove on either end because of how slick it was. So I was kind of trying to figure out everything I did in that first section really was passing people on the bottom side and making it work down there. And then about 5 laps to go on that, I started venturing up a little bit and found out that that there was good grip up there, and wished I'd have moved up a little bit sooner. But just trying to do it the right way and be patient, not get ourselves in any trouble. I knew how good the car was yesterday and that we just needed to make sure that we took care of it and got it to the end of the race.
MightNow.FrontStretch.com. Sam, you mentioned venturing up. It seemed like everybody moved up into PJ1 pretty early in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 guys were kind of leery of it. Did you rely on your spotter to find out when people had gone up there, or did you take the steps yourself?
Before I forget to say it, if my restarts would have been better, I think we would have won the race too, but I was horrible tonight. I guess that's part of not doing it every week. But as far as the PJ1 goes, about halfway through the second run or second stage, I was behind Bowman, and I was a lot faster than him through 1 and 2 on the bottom. So every time I'd get a run on him on the bottom, he'd move down the next lap. So I'd do 1 lap behind him, then he'd stay there. I'd go up to the top, get a run on him again, and then the next lap he'd be on the top. So he kept moving around everywhere I wanted to be. He was just driving in his mirror. Finally, I'm like, enough. I tried it down in 3 and 4, and it stuck, and I got a good run on it. And I told the guys over the radio, I said, well, that'll screw him up. He won't know which lane he wants to be in next time going into 3 and 4. And sure enough, he went up to try to block it, and I drove right around him on the bottom. But yeah, it was 3 and 4 is just such a tighter corner. It seems like everything happens down there a lot quicker when it gets away from you. So I think that it was more of a psychological thing of anybody wanting to move up, because they know that when you get down there with the speed you have entering into 3 and how abruptly the wall comes out at the exit of 4, that you get yourself in trouble real quick down there. So they wanted to see some other people doing it first. And I felt like while we ran well in the PJ1, our car, we could run almost the same lap time whether we ran up there or we ran down around the bottom. It was just that, that's our car was was that good, where a lot of other people got tight and had to move up into that second lane. We could still get to the bottom. Thank you.
All right, additional questions for Sam? All right, Sam, we appreciate you joining us. Congratulations on your second place run.
All right, thank you guys.
Lily Diabetes Ford, Ryan Reed, and Ryan, a very fought battle. That one that we all enjoyed watching throughout the race here in the media center. Talk a little bit about that battle with Brendan. I think it was about a point between the two of you as far as you advancing over him there to the next round of 8. But talk a little bit about that battle, but really more than that, just what it means for your team to advance into this next round.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, that's pretty awesome that it came down to that, and for the sport, and as someone who likes to see great racing and you know, good things happening in the sport, I think that's about as great of a points battle as you can ask for, especially for the first elimination race. I mean, I gotta assume it's only going to get better as the stakes get higher. So it's really cool. But then also too, yeah, I mean, I thank Brendan for racing me clean after the race, and he had his moments where he could have got to me and used me up, and he raced me clean, and I tried to race him clean, and felt like it was just a great race. There were moments where I was really confident we were done. I think maybe 60 to go. We ended up fighting a really loose race car late in that run, and we were dropping like a rock, and we got a gift with that caution for oil. Came in, put tires on it, and the team made just the right adjustments. You know, I mean, it went from being a 25th place car to being, you know, a 12th, 3rd, you know, as we were catching guys there, maybe even a top 10 car. So huge gains, just battled through it, persevered. I think that as a driver, to see your race team dig deep like that, it just motivates you. And so, you know, them giving me that opportunity gave me that extra motivation to go out there and lay it all out on the line, make those kind of all-in moments like the three-wide pass with William and Brendan. You know, those are the kind of defining moments, I feel, whether or not you get advanced in this deal or not.
Okay, we'll take questions for Ryan. If you have one, please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation. We'll start in the back with Jacob.
Jacobs. There we go. Jacob Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network. Ryan, first off, congratulations on advancing to the next round. The defining moment, I think, was you, Brendan, and the slower traffic 3 wide there, and the pass that you made to stay locked onto him, which in a way ended up becoming the difference for you advancing to the next round. Talk a little bit through that move, and just, you know, did you realize at that point that it was going to be that tight?
Yeah, I think that was kind of, I mean, I ran a somewhat conservative race all night, and there were moments and chances I could have took earlier on in the race, and I kind of hedged my bet. And right there, you know, you knew you had fast cars behind you. I knew the 33 was going to be coming, and I think that if I didn't get by the 9 right then, I almost cleared the 62 also. He just pulled a heck of a slide drop down in 3 and 4 and kept it in front of me, and that was a great move. Gave himself a shot, but, you know, I felt like if we got hung up by the 9 at all, we weren't good enough to just go out and pass him. He probably could have hung on and been a big enough burden to, even if we would get by him, maybe hold me up and let the 33 get by me. But it was definitely that moment where I figured I have to take this chance. I have to see. It may not work out. We may all go down in 3 and wreck, but I felt like if I didn't, I was going to give it away.
And then 5 to go there. Brandon Jones got to your inside, and it was he got loose, but that would have been the spot if he had passed you that would have been the difference. How hard were you driving there at the end, knowing that there was that much pressure from behind?
Yeah, I mean, that was the 10 best laps I could put together. You know, we were still fighting pretty loose race car, especially on exit, and it was getting worse and getting worse. And, you know, I mean, the guys asked me to find that little bit of extra and to find the next 8, 9 laps or whatever we needed, and just try to dig as deep as I could and find all I could. And I think that that's what you do in playoffs. You know, that's what the best playoff teams do. That's what in any sport, whether no matter how much you're down or no matter how much you need, you just find a way. You know, it's not an option. It's you've got to give this to me, bud. And I was really proud of that. You know, I was proud of myself at times tonight. I was proud of the team all night. I was proud of Spotter. I mean, I was proud all the way around. I know we got to bring faster race cars. I talked about that after the race. To advance, to have any opportunity to go to Homestead, we're going to have to be better. But I think everyone's up for the challenge. We got an off week to regroup and figured out how to be better at Kansas. I think Kansas can be a good track for us. We just have got to go make it happen. It's up to us. At least we have the opportunity, though, and I think that's what everyone at Roush Fenway asked of us going into this weekend was just go get through this weekend, give us an opportunity, and let the chips fall where they may.
All right, additional questions for Ryan? Go ahead.
Mike Neff from frontstretch.com. Is that on? Check 1, 2. There we go. You mentioned a little bit in post-race, I heard it. Had it not been for these playoffs, you would have been more like an 18th or 19th place car. Do you feel like this format basically caused you or forced you to step up that little bit and maybe take some chances that you wouldn't have normally taken because one position would have knocked you out?
I just think it's a night where you can let the frustrations get the best of you. We weren't that good. We struggled in practice. With all the rain and all the chaos, it was a frustrating night, a long day, and it's just easy, not just myself, the entire team. It's easy for the crew chief to not have a clear head, maybe not make the best call, just all the way around. And what this playoff format does is it doesn't allow you to do that. It doesn't allow you to say, man, we're having a tough night, but we'll go get them in Kansas. We're running 7th in points. We got an 80-point there's no cushion. There's none of that. It's all reset. So it's do-or-die moments that force you into situations that you may not have found yourself in. Maybe we would have done the same thing, right? So maybe it wasn't a playoff race. It was just normal race. We fall back to 24th. We make changes, and we get back up to 12th. But I know that as a driver, and as someone, and I think you watch it throughout all sports, there's moments that you watch that you see in postseason that you do not see in regular season. And I just think that this is one of those moments that kind of defines why the postseason is so special.
Any additional questions for Ryan upstairs?
No further questions.
All right, thank you. Ryan, thanks so much for joining us, and congratulations again on making the next round of the playoffs.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're going to continue with our post-race interviews for tonight's North Carolina Drive for the Cure 300, and we have now been joined by our winning team. Driver of the number 42 HendrickCars.com Chevrolet, Alex Bowman. Winning crew chief, Mike Shiplett, and team manager, Nick Harvey. And Alex, we'll start with you for our opening comments. Finally, we're able to check that win box tonight of winning your first NASCAR Xfinity Series race, but just talk a little bit about that run and being able to celebrate in Victory Lane.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a dream come true. I got to thank Mr. Hendrick and Chip and everybody that made this possible. It's been a long time since I've raced, so to come here and be as competitive as we were all night, even until that last restart, I was really pleased with how competitive we were, and Mike made great adjustments all night. We kind of got on the fence with what we needed to do. We were too free if I let the car roll too long, and then we were too tight if I rushed the throttle too much. So we just kept freeing it up, and I felt like I had some things I was rusty with. I wasn't that great on pit road, but my restart seemed to be really good, and the car was really secure around other race cars, which helped us get a great last restart and get to clean air first, and we were able to use our Hendrick horsepower and get up front and put a big gap between us and the guys behind us before we built too tight, and just kind of rode that to the end.
Right, and Mike, lost track of the wins you guys have had this year, but I know you've had a couple and a few. One last, I think, 2 weeks ago in Kentucky. So just talk a little bit about this season. You have the challenge of working with a couple of different drivers throughout the season. You guys have been pretty successful in doing that, I know, with Larson and a few others. So just talk a little bit about that from your seat, what that means, and what it means also to go to Victory Lane with Alex.
Well, it's great to get Alex's first win. We got Tyler's first win a couple weeks ago at Kentucky. You know, just when Kyle Larson's in the car, you know, we kind of work on stuff and try to make our packages better, and it just highlights when we have the younger drivers. Not that Alex is a younger driver, but he has a lot of experience, you know, but he hasn't, like he said, he hasn't been in the seat for a while, so there's some things that we talked about that we needed to work on and just during the race and just keep the balance. We felt we knew what the track was going to do. With the PJ1 they put down on the surface, we weren't 100% sure what was going to happen all night. Kind of thought we did, and it played out to our hand. We just kept working on the balance, what Alex was asking for, but in the back of our minds, we also knew what we felt the track was going to do. So we kind of played both of those aspects and just kept the balance close for him, so he had something to work with. We had a chance, exactly how the race played out there.
And Nick, we know that winning always helps the long days at the race shop, but talk a little bit about what it means for the organization to be able to, help develop talent and give them opportunities to visit Victory Lane like you guys have done this year.
Yeah, obviously we're having a stellar year. We're very pleased with what's happened so far. It's been great with both the 42 and the 48. Brennan Poole is having a fantastic year, and he's through to the round of 8, which means a lot to us. I think it shows how versatile the team is and the group that Mike has put together and our engineering staff. This came together, 2 weeks ago? It was going to be, Kyle was going to be in the car here, and then we had a switch and Alex was available, and so this deal came together pretty late. So it's a credit to Alex and Mike how well they prepared coming here, and it shows what we're prepared for every race, whatever the scenario. So it's Mike's had to work with a lot of different drivers and different styles and all that this year, and he's obviously done a very good job with it.
All right, we'll go to questions for Alex, Mike, or Nick. If you have one, please raise your hand and say your name and affiliation, and we'll start up front with Mike.
Mike Neff from frontstretch.com. This is for Mike. You talked about thinking what the track was going to do tonight and kind of having a feel for it, but it seemed like listening on FanVision that most everybody was really struggling to get the car loosened up enough or freed up enough. Did it end up being a little tighter than you anticipated, or did you feel like in the end it was about where you thought it was going to go?
Well, the way our balance was is we were tight in the middle, but we had to adjust for both. We had to adjust for the middle, and we had to keep the car secure on entry. Earlier, I think the first stop, we got it, we were too loose on entry, so we felt that the track was going to build that way all night. So we just made sure that we didn't make that any freer. So the things that you do to help the middle kind of hurt entry and exit. So you had to do basically double adjustments all night and try to keep the car ahead of what the track was doing.
All right, any questions upstairs in the press box?
Yes, we have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I've heard plenty of people say that that I've never won any of the 3 NASCAR Touring Series races. So I've had plenty of them slip away for various reasons and dominated plenty of them. And whether it's the Xfinity Series, the Nationwide Series, the Cup Series, I mean, we've led a bunch in all of them. So definitely kind of just gives myself a kind of a mental stamp of approval that I can do it. And on top of that, to be out of the car for so long, it's awesome to get back in the car and know that that there were a few things that I was a little rusty on, but for the most part, I didn't feel like I lost much. So definitely is very mentally reassuring, and hopefully puts some of the people that we're talking to rest, because we're going into 2018 to win a lot of races in that 88 car.
Additional questions upstairs?
No further questions.
Okay, we'll come back downstairs. I believe we have one in the middle, in the front. Yep.
Tyler had the racing experts. You said you're a little rusty on some things out there, but on that final run, you climbed back up through the field with your fresher tires quicker than anybody else did. Is that a testament to getting reintroduced to the limit and pushing hard, trying to get acclimated with that again, or is that just taking the training wheels back off?
I think honestly, speed and driving the race car itself wasn't anything that I was worried about. With as much testing as I've done this year in the Wheel Force car with Lance McGrew and everybody at Hendrick Motorsports and all of Chevrolet on that team, I've run a lot of laps. I just haven't raced. I was really worried about my restarts, honestly, going into tonight and how I was going to handle traffic. but honestly, I felt like my restarts are almost better than they were. So I felt like every restart we were really solid. A couple things I was rusty on, just pit road stuff. A little uncomfortable with some pedal stuff that was kind of fighting me, but I need to do a better job there going to Phoenix. But it's nice to kind of know what I need to work on, know what I got rusty on, and know what I do need to work on going forward to not only Phoenix but Daytona in 2018.
All right, go ahead.
Zach, at the end's already fun stretch. It wasn't too long ago that you were one of those underdog guys in pretty much all the series. So does it make it feel any extra special knowing, going through the ladder that you've gone through and going through the ups and downs? Does it make it feel any more special knowing what you've been through the last, pretty much your whole career?
Absolutely. I think like 08 to 12, I won everything I got in, and you almost don't appreciate it as much at that point. And from 13 to 16, whatever situations I was in, we were never able to capitalize and win. I haven't won a race in anything since 2012. So to go through the ups and downs of my career, to align myself with Hendrick Motorsports, to try to stay patient in ways I did, and to have those days where I don't know if I'm going to get to drive a race car anymore or ever again, it makes this so much more special, and it makes me appreciate working with all the guys on this 42 car that much more. Because there's plenty of race car drivers that could have sat in this car and won tonight. I'm just very thankful to be that guy.
All right, Bob, go ahead.
Bob Parker, CSPN. Did you, when you knew that you had this ride for this race in Phoenix, were you thinking Phoenix was the race that you would win, considering how well you had ran there in the Cup race?
Yeah, that race, Phoenix owes me a couple. We've run up front in a nationwide car all day long back when it was the Nationwide Series, and we've run up front in a Cup car all day long, and I don't have any trophies. I've run up front in a midget all day long there. I think I probably lost some quarter midget races behind the grandstands there too. So, that's a special place for me. It's 100 miles from home, and I think that's definitely one I circled on the calendar for sure. It's one I circle on the calendar for next year in the Cup car. I think until I'm not going to be happy until I get a Cup win there, because that's something that's haunted me every day since last November. But yeah, it was definitely probably the one out of the two that I circled, especially since it's been so long. But I'm just more pumped up. I want more trophies.
All right, Jacob, go ahead.
Jacob Seal. There we go. That's twice tonight. Jacob Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network and Race Chaser Online. Alex, two for you. First off, the move to get tires late and then the run through the field. Restarts were your friend all night long. How daring were you having to be on those restarts? And did you know really that with this being a night race that was really going to be your chance to make as much hay as you did?
Yeah, I think definitely credit to Mike on taking tires there. I was a little worried because I didn't feel like the other guys had that many laps on their tires, but it definitely paid off having stickers on that last restart. And, I think it was sometime last year, Dale told me that every run that I had on somebody that I didn't take, it made him want to kick his dog. So I'm just trying to help Gus there. And take every run that I get. So every time I had a run on restarts, I just tried to take it, and thankfully we were able to make most of them work. But a lot of that is the race car. The race car was great on restarts. I really did think I was going to be rusty at that, and I was very pleased with how the car handled in traffic, and we were able to use it to our advantage.
I think a lot of people sometimes forget the year of experience you actually had, the full year of experience you had in the Cup car back when you were running for BK, and now getting ready to go into this full-time deal in the 88 next year. How much do you lean on that? How much do you feel like, even though it won't necessarily be the equipment that you're going to be in with Hendrick, obviously, but how much does that prior experience ease the learning curve going back into another full-time opportunity?
Absolutely. It was actually 2 years. I ran full-time Cup racing for 2 years, 2014 and 2015. So I got to make a lot of mistakes without really anybody watching, which I think was a big benefit. You know, my rookie season, obviously we didn't win Rookie of the Year, but I had Kyle Larson, Austin Dillon, Justin Allgaier. I mean, a bunch of great race car drivers, and I just got to mess up, and we would finish bad, but it'd be, oh, you're supposed to, and it really helped me learn without a lot of people noticing, and I think it just made me a better race car driver. Those guys from 25th to 30th to 35th, I mean, they race just as hard as the leaders do, if not harder, and the race cars are way worse to drive. So I think I learned a lot from that. Worked with a lot of really good people with Dave Winston and working with Tommy Baldwin in 2015. You know, it just, every experience was a learning experience, and I think a lot of people look at me. I've had so many people say that, oh, you're going to win Rookie of the Year next year, and I'm like, man, I almost have 90 Cup starts. So I think it's experience that I have in my back pocket that not a lot of people realize that I have, but it's definitely something I can always use.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Congratulations again, Alex, on your win, and we wish you, both of you, or I should say both teams, the best of luck the rest of the season and into 2018.
Thanks for your time.